Okay, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon from whatever part of the world you are watching this from. This is the new Dawn TV, and today I'm privileged to be hosting one of the brilliant brains in the Multimedia University of Kenya. And today we are going to discuss various things concerning especially politics, campus life, students, and everything. So join us today as you are going to host one of my guests today. Nitampatia chance ajiintroduce, then you go ahead. Karibu sana.
First of all, I'd like to thank my good friend and companion Edwin, and all the viewers. Welcome to the New Dawn TV. It's a privilege to be hosted in this podcast. My name is Michael Wari, popularly known as Pilot. I am a student leader in the Multimedia University of Kenya and aspiring leader outside the institution.
Okay, since we have said referred us or known as Pilot, do you mind telling us why Pilot? Pilot ni ilitoka wapi?
Now, I know most people question about my name. I'm the only pilot in Multimedia University. And people wonder, how comes you are a pilot without a piloting license? I'd like to clarify something that the name pilot actually it's not a profession as per se. It may be a profession politically, but yes, but it's an acronym standing for promoting integrity, leadership, organization, and transparency. PILOT.
Oh, so in short, Pilot si jina tule ya rubani ambayo tunajua. Si rubani. It's an acronym.
It's an acronym, yes.
Oh, it's an acronym standing for
promoting
integrity,
leadership, organization, and transparency.
Yes. I hope mmesikia hiyo. So Pilot, the new acronym in town. So yes. Pilot, let me call you that. Hebu tueleze, how did you land here in the Multimedia University? Ulitoka wapi ukajipata ndio huyo wewe multimedia na baboons and the warthogs?
That's a very interesting question, because it brings out some really interesting memories and some really interesting skills and qualities before I came to Multimedia University. I'm a proud alumni of the great Kagumo High School. Yeah. And as far as my academics were concerned, I wanted to become a computer scientist, a doctor, a lawyer.
Hizo zote.
Sijamaliza.
Continue.
Yeah. And I also wanted to become a judge. So all those dynamics played through, and from the amount of influence and the amount of molding I got from the great Kagumo High School, that is when I came up with the final decision on who I want to become. And after passing my KCSE exams, I decided that of all the universities, I'll choose Multimedia University as my first choice and pursue a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Since that is how the job market is operating, it's actually headed in the tech industry.
Okay, let me cut you short.
Yes.
Like, you chose Multimedia University as your first choice.
Yes, I did.
Na kila mtu anachaguanga something because of something.
Of
so
course,
what is this thing that inspired you to choose Multimedia first?
So first of all, as the whole nation understands, that Multimedia is the best university when it comes to tech and media education. I didn't just pick Multimedia University. I had to do my research, not just the academic value it will bring to me. I also looked at on matters of networking, because Multimedia is located in Nairobi, and there are a lot of opportunities for people who graduate from such a credible university. That is why I decided to choose Multimedia University, which is very much recognized on tech and the media space.
Okay.
So that is how I came to.
Still on multimedia. Okay, did it meet your expectations? You know, ukikuja mahali you have some expectations. So did it meet your expectations?
So
In terms of infrastructure, everything, was it according to what you expected?
I can see the CBC is getting into the system of Kenyans, because as of now I know the grading system has changed. So if you consider the CBC way to gauge that level of meeting expectation or above expectation or exceeding expectation, and I'd give Multimedia University meeting expectations, because it didn't exceed my expectation as expected. Because first of all, I looked into the Multimedia University from Malaysia. That is a mistake most students from Multimedia University make.
So there's another multimedia
yeah.
in Malaysia.
So
ile inakwanga smart, kuna picha fulani.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one.
So that is a mistake. That is a mistake that most people, especially the ones who the first years before they join campus, that is a mistake they do. They focus on whatever they are seeing online.
That picture.
Yeah. Because there's one thing they're supposed to do. My geography teacher highly recommended in any field work you have to do something called reconnaissance.
Nakumbuka hiyo word.
Because what might be online might not be the same which is on the ground.
So ground very tofauti.
You do a reconnaissance. Maybe I used to see parents come, they inspect the institution before their first years join that. So that is one thing I would recommend anybody. Before they join a university, they do a reconnaissance.
Don't just rush.
Yes, don't just rush. Yeah. You go tembea huko hivi, look at the facilities.
Yeah.
And then you can decide if it's below meeting or above expectation.
Okay, so multimedia have been given a meeting expectation. So as per CBC grading system, tunaanzia ile below expectation. Below expectation runs from 24 and below. For those who don't know, from below expectations, we go to approaching expectations, which runs from 25 to 50. Then from there we have meeting expectation from 51 to 75. Then 76 to 100, exceeding expectation. So multimedia to go 51 to 70. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So let's shift our gears kidogo. Tuingie into politics. As you're introducing yourself, you mentioned you are a student leader. Tell us about it.
So first of all, I'm a very big fan of what we call leaders without titles.
There's a book entitled that.
Okay. I like to look into that after the show. I am the 10th faculty representative of CIT, and I have always been in the political space, championing for good governance and what called quality leaders. That is why I got into politics. And I have done honors. I've done honors to the CIT department, computer science department, and the IT department in my faculty. All the senior students can confirm that. But let's stick to that part of being a leader.
Then, how did you learn? How was the process?
The process was very interesting, and that actually I started from first year. I didn't just come to the institution then thought of becoming a leader. Actually started as a student, as I've just said previously, that I was a focused student. I'm still a focused student. Let me clarify something.
You are and
Yeah.
you're still. Okay.
And I came with the ambition of becoming one of the best tech students from Multimedia Universities. And that is how I realized that whatever you interact with decides your future. Anybody you interact with in campus might, in one way or the other, determine your future. And I came up with a philosophy that if you want to see the change you desire, you need to first be the change. And that was one of the reasons why I entered into politics. Started off as a delegate in CIT from computer science, and that is how my journey in politics started.
Then, which was this force? Internal or external? Which force? Kama ni mtu, ni nani huyo alikwambia, you know, you can do this, you have to try this. Was there this external force or internal force that somehow contributed to you going for that position?
Okay, so the first thing that motivated me to go for this position was it was an internal thing. Because first of all, I come from a solid lineage of MMU veterans. Yeah, and I believe in bringing the change through action. And there is no way we would advocate for good governance if you are not among the people who are bringing that change. So first of all was an internal force. Then later on came the external force where people noticed, you know. My good friend, there's a friend of mine in computer science, known as Kipchumba. He was the one who actually noticed that in as much as we have leaders in the class, we can't just wake up and decide to formulate rules or maybe change the whole system. We need somebody who can represent us, can represent all those voices as one. I wish that most people have friends like Kipchumba, because Kipchumba really believed in me. Brian Kipchumba. He told me that you can make a very good delegate. And then out of nowhere, that internal belief in myself kind of grew to a point, even aspiring leaders, just like the previous SG, when I was in first year, he told me that I can make a very good leader. Even from there, I used to carry myself. I used to receive some of these compliments. I never believed that. I was just normal, and I was like, if you do this and this, you can make a very good leader. And that is how I started looking at campus leadership in a different way. Not just internal force. Then I started inculcating internal force and external, so that they align. Yes.
In this journey, you know, in every journey there are some ups and downs. So what was these challenges that you were facing before you got that post, and when you were at that post? Ukiwa sasa the faculty rep, ni changamoto gani zilikuwa, and how did you face them?
One of the challenges I faced was what you call disbelief. This must be a new challenge that most people don't understand. It's called disbelief, where people are surprised how can a person, because in the institution, I was actually the first second year to become a faculty representative. The history have it. all the senior students were wondering, how comes the second year is interested in becoming a faculty? And that was one of the motivations as to why I wanted to become a faculty. Because I decided to prove them that it can be done in another way.
So this disbelief came from others.
Majority of them being seniors. Yes. So that is what motivated me to show them that it can be done in a different way.
Yeah. And what was this mistake that you did?
The mistake I did was that is a mistake most people do. The mistake I did was to look at my opponents, not like aspiring fellow leaders, but as a threat, as enemies in politics. And that is a mistake I did, and I had to quash some, to cancel some engagements with them, and lower the level of friendships. The relationship we had, I kind of disband it, because I did not consider them to be willing to support my cause, because we were competing for the same thing. So I think that is one of the mistakes most people do, to assume their opponent is not an aspiring leader but an enemy to be defeated, to be stumbled on. I think that is a mistake I did when I was going for the faculty there. And I've learned from my mistakes. I've solved the beef, call it beef. So far so good.
Okay. Still in leadership, you have said you're also aspiring leader outside campus. So what next? What next? Tuambie.
I'll leave you with a quote before to answer your question.
Yes.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. So this time, give us the duration so that we know.
I know you want me to pin me on the election period 2023, 2030. No. In a matter of in the next few decades.
Few decades.
Yes.
So since you have said few decades, viewers will evaluate it.
Any viewer will be viewing this video the next decade, or in less than, or in the next decade. We recall this video. We'll have to pin this video.
10 years to come, editor may scare this video to be pinned and revisited after 10 years. Okay, something else. Let's stick in campus politics kidogo. In campus politics, there are some determinants.
Yes.
There are some determinants. So what are these determinants that you think, you personally, then you are going to discuss them on a wide view.
Okay.
But when you want to be maybe Secretary General, the chair, there must be this, there must be this, there must be this.
Okay. So first of all is what we call self-belief. Because most people wouldn't believe on somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. It actually shows in the aura of a person. Easily. You can look at a person, the way he carries himself or herself, and that will tell you if this one is a leader or a dealer.
A dealer? Dealing in what? Dealing in what?
You may be dealing in something, but the first determinant is what we call self-belief. Now the second one is the external force. After you believe in yourself, do you inspire others to believe in you? You have that. Do you give them that motivation of believing in you? It's also yes.
Just hold on to that thought. We are coming back to start from just where we have left. Okay, so viewers, you know Valentine is around the corner. Warembo na watu wao. Kama unataka kubaia msupa wako zawadi, unataka kubaia maua, unataka kubaia sabuni, unataka kubaia lip gloss, hizo vitu zingine zote, tafuta, ingia pale Gram Vals Wimsy, mtafute, you'll get some goodies. You can contact her, you can see the product on your screen. So stick with us, we are coming right after the break. Okay, karibu tena, welcome back. We are talking with Pilot here, and as you have learned today, Pilot is an acronym meaning yenye imesemwa hapo. Mimi nimepotea kidogo. Hebu tukumbushe Pilot.
Promoting integrity, leadership, organization, and transparency.
And transparency. Bora nimeshika. I will revisit it. So, before we went for a short break, we were talking about what it takes to be a leader, especially in campus. What does it take?
Yes. So the first thing is what we call self-belief. That is the internal fire that breathes in somebody's heart. The second one, which is correlated to that internal fire, is what we call the external factors. Do these people believe in you? And do they believe that you can make a better leader than the previous regime? Because actually, leadership is all about comparison and expectations. People will compare you to the past regime in your position, and they will expect you to do better than them. So do you inspire such qualities? Do you inspire them to feel that considering the past regime and your interest, would you do better than them? Or would you be similar or less than them? Yeah.
Noted. So, what it takes to be a leader, as you have explained. So let's dive into multimedia politics.
Okay.
And if I'm not wrong, you have been in this institution for like, let's say 3 years.
Yes.
And you have witnessed various leaders. They come and they go. So what is this impact that you feel like during this this tenure, there was this leader who did this? What is the impact of MUXA for the last 3 years when you are here?
Allow me not to mention names,
Yes.
but I'll mention certain periods of the MUXA regimes. I've only been in this institution for 3 years, and I believe one of the best times that the institution has had great development and good governance was the 2024-2025 MUXA and the 2025-2026 MUXA, as far as my recollections are concerned.
Let me just cut you kidogo. If I'm not wrong, that was during a tenure.
Yes.
Okay. So, how am I sure that haujitetea?
Now this is how you can sure. You can only do that through what you call comparison. The same way we compare the government elected back in 2017 with the government elected in 2007 or 2002, it is the same way we can compare the governments in terms of contact with students. And when we compare the governments, we need to focus on individuals, because if we only consider that a certain member of the MUXA is not active, and we decide to generalize the whole body, that wouldn't be a very good way to look at governance.
Okay. So, let's talk facts. You have said we do comparison.
Yes.
So, let's talk facts that during this tenure, during this person's era, he did this and this and this.
Yes.
Like we can just say in Kenya, maybe during our previous President Kenyatta, alileta SGR, alileta expressway.
Okay.
So let's come to multimedia. During so and so time, alileta hii, akaleta hii. Let's talk facts.
Okay.
What are these facts?
Now, since I joined first year, there was no official office for the student leaders where the students can easily access the student leaders. The only way you would have accessed the student leader was by contacting them through the phone call, which most of the time they are unreachable. The student leader is not that, in as much as he is a student leader, he's also a student, he has other errands. But if a student leader is accorded an office, that was one of the ways to limit that gap between leaders and the people they are serving. So I believe the fact that the 2025-2026 MUXA came up with the projects to narrow that gap between leaders and the constituents was one of the best projects that MUXA in its entirety has ever thought of. That is one. Now the second one is based on what we call hygiene. This one can go into record my environment and gender and special needs representative champion for the planting of more than 250 trees around the clubhouse and more than 250 trees around the football area and the MMU stadium to encourage on environment and take care of the environment. Another thing was to establish litter bins. We have an issue with the baboons. They came up with a project to, in partnership with the Manichandadria organization, they came up, or rather we came up with a project to establish anti-baboon. I don't know if it's an official anti-baboon dustbin. People living around the game park, they can tell you there's been a lot of issues with baboons spilling around waste. So the students who visit our institution, or any visitor, might assume that few students are careless, but it's not the students.
It is the other students.
It is the other students, you know. So that is one of the best initiatives that MUXA has done in comparison to the past regimes, and I will appreciate the different factions who are in charge, who have done that part. The second one was to minimize the complaints from the students to the admin by directly channeling those issues to the admin. Because right now we have the most active academic secretary who has always been on the forefront of championing for students' needs in terms of academics to be listened to. Has been talking to the registrar, making sure we have timely registration of units, and it's a continuing process. We cannot say everybody or anybody is perfect. There are some ups and downs in accessing these services, but we are actually doing our best to make sure by the time our regime is over, that we have left a better image than the past MUXA.
Okay.
Yes.
Speaking on the achievements of MUXA, there's something you have mentioned about establishment of an office. Do you mind telling us about that? Because kuna comrade hii shule hajui kuna kwanga na ofisi ya MUXA.
Okay. So the office of MUXA is located at outside Block C of the male students hostel, and you can easily access the school president, the deputy president, the sports and entertainment secretary. You can access all those executive members who are elected to make sure they channel your complaints and compliments in a rather better way. The location is outside Block C. For people who don't know Block C is directly opposite, or if you know Pavilion B for the students of Multimedia University, it's actually directly opposite Pavilion B. It's actually under renovation, and we are almost opening the offices for accessibility.
So it's not yet operational.
Almost
Operational.
Yes.
Okay, so comrade has the
it's an ongoing project. That's what I'm saying.
So what is the estimated time of the deadline kumalizika? By when it will be operational?
I cannot comment on that, but within this academic year
This academic year inaisha March. So next month it should be operational.
No, I haven't said it should be operational.
By the end of this academic year.
That is my projection.
Your projection.
As far as my opinion is concerned, it can be operational by the end of this academic year. That is 2026-2027. Yes.
Okay, still in Muksa, there's this thing that you feel like Muksa could have done this, yet they did not do. Okay. What are these things? The fails of Muksa. Because kama kuna achievements, there are also some fails. So what are the failures?
And first of all, I'll say there are a lot of achievements which will make us overlook some of the things they did not achieve. But I believe, as a student of Multimedia University, Muksa would have done better by engaging as many students as possible on what project should be prioritized, what they feel like it is very necessary, because every Muksa leader enters the government with their own manifesto, and when they pledge to the students' votes, they decide to implement their manifesto. So if these students leaders can create a baraza, that was a proposal I presented to my fellow Muksa leaders, that if we had that baraza and make sure we listen to as many students as possible on what projects they want to be prioritized, we will have done better. So I cannot pin down on a specific thing that I believe Muksa has fallen short of, but we have done our best. Yes,
they need to engage comrades more.
I believe we need to engage the students more, so that we understand what do they require. It's a matter of what they feel is better if implemented than what we think is better if we implement from our side. Yeah.
Okay, since you have spoken about that, let's now shift gears to about how Muksa is being elected, how Muksa is put in office. Okay. And as most institutions, they do what we call delegates, whereby some students are elected to go and elect the executive positions. So do you support, first of all, do you support this delegate system? What's your view? Do you support it, yes or no?
I will only just give an outright answer, yes or no, but I would like to give conditions on why Muksa, the electoral college representative way of voting, is recommended rather than the direct democracy.
So it is, okay, you have said it is recommended.
Yes, because it's actually a law.
From where?
Let me clarify.
If it is recommended, then we are supposed to know by who and why.
According to the Kenyan Gazette supplement, the National Assembly Bill of 2015, it is recommended on the bill for introduction. It was a bill chaired on the 4th of December 2015. And the university's it was the university's amendment bill of 2015. That bill kind of scrapped the powers of student leaders, or kind of not. Let me rephrase my answer. It empowered leaders and minimized the chaos in the country as far as student leaders are concerned, because as we all know, the direct democracy, which is used on the national level to elect members of parliaments, governors, MCAs, women reps, senators, and so forth, has proved to have some issues. Now, when you introduce that type of leadership, type of election, the direct democracy way, there were a lot of issues which came as a result of that, because some students felt they were above the law, there was vandalism, but there was also representation of what the student really wanted from their own elected. Now, when you look at the indirect democracy way, the people who are elected as electoral college representatives, these are the delegates. They vote on certain biases. Others vote on the bias of whatever the students want. The others who vote on the bias of what to call incentives. As you know, politics. The others who vote on in lines of what you call ethnic angles. These are all independent decisions. So when majority of people vote on a certain angle, the person who is favored by that angle becomes the next leader, regardless of whoever has an opposing opinion. So I believe they are all they are the negative sides of direct democracy and the indirect negative sides of indirect democracy. Both positive on the other, negative on the other, on both angles.
So in short, on a personal perspective, do you feel like this delegate represents the interest of the comrades?
Okay.
You were once a delegate.
Yes.
Did you feel like you represented, you did what the comrades wanted you to do when you were a delegate?
As far as my interest on as an aspiring delegate were concerned, I wanted to represent them in an angle which would have brought quality leaders. So the issue is not the view that people have. It is the numbers, or the angle, the most favored angle. So the delegates can represent the interest of the comrades, but if they are the minority who are interested in representing the leaders who have interest of comrades, that will make the elections to be. The elections are credible, but the interests are not in the angle of which the students want. So I believe the elections, on the indirect elections, are fair as far as the delegates are concerned. But if we consider the students, that is where the gap between representation and actual interest.
Okay, let me enclose this question. Wazungu anasema, let me hit the nail on the head. Yes. So do you support the delegate system, or we should think otherwise?
I wouldn't be against a system which is listening to the students. And it's worth noting that not every delegate, the conditions of elections, they change with time. So we might have a time where delegates are interested in voting for a certain candidate under the influence of what the comrades want. At times we might have delegates voting for a regime on matters of incentives, and that will bring the student body in a bad state. So I wouldn't be against or in support of the delegate system unless we have the conditions on the table. So that will be my answer now.
Though you haven't answered, but let's just hold it all there. Just hold it there. Then, so in this in campus, most campus, we have this tribe, the factor you call Nyumba. Ethnicity. Yes, ethnicity. Do you think it's a factor that influences the type of leaders that we have? Do you think it's a factor?
First of all, I love to pin you guys on what science confirms. Science confirms times again that human beings, animals are tribal in nature.
Speaking of animals, we are animals.
And human beings are animals. So human beings are tribal in nature. That is why, in terms of crisis, animals like sheep, they tend to cluster together. lions, they'll be moving with lions, and because that is what actually motivates what we call racism and some of those things. So when you come to campus, whatever is happening in the outside world, it's the same which is happening on the inside. If I can mention, just to give an example, if I mention the word Murima, there's something that comes into your mind.
True.
If I mention about Lake Victoria, there's something that comes to your mind. And these are just stereotypes to prove that in as much as we might be against tribalism, we are tribal in nature. The only way this can benefit us is when we appreciate diversity. We appreciate diversity and not to seclude ourselves in those angles of being maybe like being a black person or only listening to black people. We should appreciate diversity instead of encouraging division.
So in short, you are saying that tribe plays a role.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And since you have said we appreciate diversity, how do we do that?
As far as my opinion is concerned, we can appreciate diversity by electing leaders who believe in good governance. And
But these leaders have tribes.
yes, yes, but it is very easy to notice a tribal leader.
How? Yes,
very
it's very easy. If it is easy, then it's
Now-
obvious. So how?
So this is how you notice a tribal leader and an inclusive leader. A tribal leader is a person who does not consider the interest of others. You might find me in the company of other people speaking French. So the people who don't understand French will feel secluded, because why would I be talking to somebody in French and it's an open discussion where I want other people to listen? So that is one way you can identify a tribal leader, is a person who does not consider others in terms of the way they communicate. Yes. The other way you can identify an inclusive leader is a person who does the opposite of a tribal leader. So I'll just have to note how you can identify a tribal leader. It's a person who does not consider others, a person who will always want to look at the interest of people from his or her ethnic group, and will kind of look down upon others who do not come from the ethnic group.
Okay. Sticking on that, have you ever felt in your leadership role, especially in campus, have you ever felt that this tribe factor has affected your political journey?
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
Personally, I'm a victim of that, and I wouldn't be offended when somebody says I'm a Frenchman, and Frenchmen should be only acting in this way. Now, when you look at how elections are held in this institution and in many other institutions, the delegates might operate in those angles of ethnicity. So if I'm interested in becoming a leader and people identify me as a Frenchman, and the people who are identifying me are English people, it will be very hard for the English people to vote for me if they are the ones deciding, because they assume Frenchmen are supposed to behave like this and we are supposed to vote for this. I cannot support an English person because I'm French. That is one of the ways which you are affected as a leader in our campus.
Tribe, nyumba.
Nyumba.
So you, not being tribal, would you support? Okay, let's say you have somebody from your house and you have a leader. Whom will you go for? I, Maende, I'm not from your house, but the way you know me, Maende is a very good leader. Then you have somebody from your house. Who
Okay.
will you go for?
Now, as far as my opinion is concerned, as a pilot, and for the greater good of the institution, and as far as my philosophy is put into perspective, I believe that everybody can become a leader as long as you have the qualities of a leader. The ethnic part is a factor of division and it should never be considered. And I encourage anybody who is interested in leadership to look outside the box of ethnicity. That is the only way you can have good governance and an inclusive type of student council. So personally, if somebody comes from my house and does not prove to be a leader, does not have the qualities of a leader, but somebody else comes from another house, as the people like to put them, but personally I don't consider myself to be in those categories, just that I identify as pilot and the rest is up to them to assume. So if there's a leader who comes from a different house from my house, but my house has an aspiring leader who does not have the qualities of a leader, 101%, my vote will go into the person who has the qualities of a leader.
That one is noted. So as we come to conclusion, let's do some quick fire.
Okay.
So the first question is just one response to two words, one sentence. So mess, chafua, which one will you go for?
I'll go for mess.
Go for mess. Staying inside school or staying outside school?
Personally, I'll stay outside the school.
Outside the school. And why is it so?
There are a lot of factors to consider. First of all is the school policy. They always prioritize the first year students, so you might struggle finding a spot whenever there is a new cohort coming in. So I'm comfortable staying somewhere outside than competing with my juniors for that bed space. Yes.
Okay, that was all for today, and I don't know if we're going to have a next segment, but thank you very much, Pilot, for agreeing to talk to us. We appreciate your time, we appreciate your contribution to the show,
Yes.
and we wish and we would like to talk to you once again. Asante sana.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.